He's going to have to start
Nick Nurse
hiding
needs
in
his
this
own
city.
place to hide.
Exactly.
Because, again, like we've been saying, every time we've interviewed him in the past, he's just been regular NBA head coach.
Yeah,
now
head
he's
coach.
champion NBA head coach. Here's Nick Nurse. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good, guys. What are you talking about?
Just you being a champion, man. How many selfies have you had to take over the past 3 or 4 days?
A few here and there, but it's okay, man. Everybody's excited. It's great, man. Everybody's happy, and I'm happy too. So we'll selfie away here for a while.
Yeah, you might
down.
take advantage of it, right? I mean, take us back to the parade for a minute, because we were down there, but we were at Nathan Phillips Square waiting for you guys. The pictures, the video, I'm not sure it can do justice. What was it like being on top of one of those buses?
Well, I was in a truck, one of those Raptor trucks,
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was it like? It was slow moving. It was exciting. It was at times when the cheering was almost deafening when you'd get between, I don't know, under a bridge or something, or it was something. And I think to me, it seemed like it was just growing and growing by the minute, because I think the length of it and the weather was awesome. And I think people were seeing it on TV and were like, I gotta go down there and be a part of it. And it just kept growing. It was something to be a part of, that's for sure.
With Nick Nurse here on OverDrive, obviously there were a lot of incredible moments throughout the playoff run. But if there was only one moment you can take, one moment that you can preserve and cherish for the rest of your life, which moment would that be?
Man, I mean, you got to go all the way to the end, right? I think, just when the buzzer sounds and you get to go hug your family and you kind of the relief that the work's over for a while, because it was a long grind of just kind of constantly being energetic enough to go do the job every second of the day, and that's some relief to get a season over with. And when you get a win, it's obviously more enjoyable for the summer. But there was a ton of little cool moments like that, that were, really special.
Were there times during this run where you had to take a step back and maybe enjoy a little bit, but you allowed your mind to, I guess, take you to the place at the end? I know in hockey I made it to the second and third round, but I never made it to the finals and won. But there were times where you sit back and dream and think, geez, what if? Were there times through this run that you actually had to stop yourself?
No, I mean, I had to stop myself from going to those places. I think I didn't. It was pretty easy. The team was never getting ahead of themselves. We did have we played from behind a lot in the series, so we were just trying to get the next one to get some momentum back a lot. You know what I mean? There was a time, I think 3-2, when we went up 3-2 on Milwaukee, and we were coming back home for Game 6. That's when I really warned them about getting ahead of themselves, because that was the time I think everybody was like, "Oh my God, we're up 3-2. We're going to the finals. We've never been to the finals." And I did meet with the team and tell them, "Hey, everybody's going to be taking you someplace or trying to take you someplace that you're not at yet, and we've got to guard against that. There's going to be lots of pats on the back. We're coming back from a road game. We got a home game, and we can't let it soften us up or zap our energy. Let's use our energy the way we need to and keep focused." And it was a little easier than maybe, well, not easy. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't as, getting ahead of ourselves wasn't that big a problem. Let's put it that way.
With Raptors head coach Nick Nurse, well, that's always interesting to me, playing that mental game, because I think on one hand, you want to have confidence you can get there. I don't think dreaming about it is a bad thing. So how do you kind of, dance along that tightrope where you allow yourself to dream and be ambitious, but also not get too carried away?
Well, I think for sure you dream about it. I've probably been dreaming about it for a lot of years, to be honest. When I was coaching a small college in Iowa, I used to get in my car and drive over and watch Jordan's Bulls teams play in the finals. Buy a standing room only ticket from a scalper outside, and watch the game and and watch them celebrate or watch these awesome. The atmosphere and all that stuff was awesome, and get back in my car and drive home for 4 hours or so, and that soaks in, and you're thinking, man, it'd be really cool to do that someday. So I think you dream about it, but I think you're right. The most interesting part about it is like when you're right in the middle of it, or for me anyway, you are like enclosed in it a little bit, and you probably heard me say this a lot. I purposely thought part of my job was to not, watch TV and listen to any reports or listen to the radio or read about our team, good or bad. I didn't really want it to deter me or take any energy or spend any time on that, because there was enough to focus on, which was trying to get the next game and make sure our guys were in a good place mentally,
Is there a guy on the team that you leaned on a little bit to kind of get your message across? Maybe a veteran guy or somebody that we wouldn't know about that had that type of leadership qualities that kind of exuded through the room?
I mean, this was a heavily laden veteran team and a lot of guys with unique leadership qualities. So, I think all of us benefited from Kawhi's even-keeled demeanor, myself included. I think everybody benefited from Kyle's tenacity and just how hard he played. I think that transcended to players. Gasol had his kind of stoic, tough moments. Serge gave a couple unbelievable team speeches to guys that were, grand slams. They were just right on time and perfectly delivered and just what we needed. Freddie VanVleet. I mean, there's Freddie VanVleet with his play and courage and guts and all that stuff. I think there was a lot of guys. So, and it took all of us. It took all the staff and all the players and everybody chipping in and the energy channeled in the right way. And I think, and when it got unchanneled, we rechanneled it quickly. So it was collective effort for sure.
With Nick Nurse here on OverDrive, at any point during the playoff run, did you guys feel like underdogs? Can you think of a time where you're like, okay, we're up against it here, we're an underdog now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we ever felt we weren't good enough to beat who we were playing, right? And that's a pretty big statement. Let me just back up a little bit on that. I think we thought we could beat everybody when we were in the East, okay? And we knew we did have a tremendous respect for them, and we knew we had to play. And once we kind of unleashed our defensive, just the way we started playing defense, game 2 against Orlando, our guys and I next day I met with them and said, listen, if we're going to play defense like that, we can go anywhere we want to go. And I think that was a really big springboard to the rest of the playoff run, because we played defense pretty darn good most nights from then on out. And it was that kind of realization of playing that hard, being that connected, and executing the game plan that well. Coach might be right. We might be able to go anywhere we want to go. Now, I think when you win the East and get to Golden State, and this is their 5th finals, and it's a dynasty and stuff, you got to immediately decide, okay, do you think you're good enough to beat these guys? And that was, again, something we talked about immediately. And I addressed it kind of like I used football, American, football, NFL, and college football. I said the Patriots are in the Super Bowl every year, and I told them I thought, there's some teams that give them way too much respect, and they're beat before they take the field. But I gave them some examples. The Philadelphia Eagles went in there and kicked their butt, and Clemson, dethroned Alabama and kicked their butt. And that's, we got to go in there. We don't care that these guys are a dynasty. We got to figure out if we can take it to them, right from game 1. And I think our guys again felt that and exuded that, right from game 1.
With Nick Nurse here on OverDrive, is there any particular adjustment or tactical decision you made against Golden State that you're most proud of?
It's a good question. I would say this. I think that it's hard to think of just one. I know everybody talks about the box and one. They were chanting box and one. It was great in the parade. I was getting a group of 50 guys chanting box and one, and then 50 people right next to them going, "What's a box and one?"
You should have yelled back. It's a janky defense. It's a janky defense.
I got some of that too. They were yelling, "It isn't a janky defense" or something.
Right.
They were chanting that too. But I mean, everybody talks about that, and that's, I don't know, that's okay. It's kind of cool, right? That nobody's probably played that in the finals ever or in an NBA game for a long time. And it's not, to me, it's not that big a deal because the game we were in trouble when I went to it. It was just we couldn't get the game under control, and I presented it to the team, and Kyle looked at it and said, I kind of positioned, this is where everybody's going to be, and they all were like, yeah, man, let's do it. And so that makes it easy as a coach. They accept it and say, we'll go do it, and they went out and did it really well. But there's so many little adjustments going on. I mean, in each game, you're a timeout. One of the things we were doing at some of the timeouts is we were totally switching who was guarding who, just for the sake of it, just because we thought they would be running a certain action, and all of a sudden it didn't look the same as they thought it was going to look because we had three guys guarding totally different guys, or we would do a riskier coverage out of a timeout, like maybe switch Gasol on to Steph Curry, which you'd be saying, geez, you don't want to make a habit of that very often, but we do it anyway just to kind of throw their whole little line of thinking off, and some of that stuff was working really well.
Well, we'll get you out of here on this question because it's the one that is important for us, and we really want to know an answer to it. What's it going to be like playing the guitar with a championship ring on? Have you thought of that yet?
I don't think that's going to be possible. You ever see those championship rings, man? They're like furniture.
Yes, they are.
You can't wear them. They're like things you got to put on your desk. I'll put it next to the elephant on the desk. How
there you
about that?
go.
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware that you actually quoted that you were going to come up and play in studio with us if you did win that said championship.
We haven't forgotten about that.
Yeah.
I lost it.
Bad connection. We'll send you an email so you don't have to flush it.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations on what was an incredible run, and enjoy the summer. I'm sure you will, and I'm sure we'll catch up again down the road. Thank you for this.
Thanks, guys.
There's Nick Nurse,
Yeah.
championship head coach and guitar player.
Great spirits. And he should be.
He's in a good mood. He should be in a good mood. That was fun, man. He brought us kind of behind the scenes of a lot that was going on, and
I thought that was very interesting that he said that they would just mess with the defensive coverage out of timeouts just to
Throw 'em
basically
off.
to mess with Steve Kerr.
absolutely. So Kerr, they're probably even the players are like, wait a minute, what's this guy
Yeah,
doing
why
on
is
me?
Gasol on
Doesn't
Steph
make any
Curry?
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Interesting,
little
though.
moments, man, that, again, it all adds up. And
Well, and it works to a point, and even if it just works for one play, all of a sudden it gets in the mind of your opponent. So very creative, certainly deserved to win, and I've always liked his demeanor. Like right from day one, we had him in studio. I think was it the day after?
Right after he
was
got hired.
named coach, and
Yep.
very affable, very.
he was talking about his love of music. We didn't know he was playing a guitar at that point. I don't think he ever
Right.
brought that up. But, he said again he had to delay the interview with Masai because he was going to some concert somewhere.
Yeah.
And, listen, he's a lifer. Like, I found it interesting. He said, when I was coaching at Iowa, I wasn't making any money. I'd drive 4 or 5 hours up to Chicago when the Bulls were in the finals.
That's
This
where
guy, he was buying tickets off scalpers.
Yeah.
Now he's winning titles in the NBA.
That's where in his mind he's like, I'm going to be down there someday. Like
Which you got to appreciate that journey.
it is, and it's because it wasn't handed to him. He had to go work for it. Like we can't, as much as we love Dwayne Casey, and we did, and this guy won Coach of the Year.
Yep.
Nick Nurse, it's tough to shuffle just to the left, to one chair over.
Oh, it was a gamble.
I've seen
One of the many gambles.
But I've seen in hockey assistant coaches try and take over as a head coach. It doesn't work because you've been good guy. You've instead of bad cop, you've been good cop, and now all of a sudden you have to be bad cop and kick a little ass, and the players are like, I remember you last year. Right?
Well, it's interesting because I'll bet you Nurse benefited greatly from roster turnover. Because of that. Kawhi Leonard didn't know him as an assistant coach.
Gasol
Danny
didn't know
Green,
him.
Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
Siakam was a guy who didn't have the right to say, hey, who are you?
Exactly.
Step aside. He was still growing as a player and trying to establish himself.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Lowry was the guy that had to eventually say, I'm in.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of the debate coming into the season, the attitude of Lowry. Will he be able to accept all this change? And he did.
Yeah.
And obviously it worked out, and now they're champions, and they get to live with that the rest of their lives.